Having lived in Vietnam for 10 years, it's hard to believe that I'd never connected through any airports in the country before, until the last couple of months that I was living there. That combined with really cheap business class fares made Vietnam Airlines the perfect option to get from Seoul to Bangkok today via Saigon. It was a bit odd to see my apartment from the flight, but not actually go there. By the way, if you're ever curious about the price that I paid for this flight, or the equipment that I use on a daily basis while traveling and creating, all of that can be found in the description below. Let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. Over the last 5 years, I've flown over 130 airlines so I could bring you my self-funded, drama-free, and honest takes on them all. Not to mention the over 200 hotels and resorts that I've reviewed so far. Scan the QR code to explore the destinations I've covered and learn more about the channel. Without further ado, let's get flying. Welcome to a gorgeous day here at Seoul's Incheon International Airport, originally opened in 2001 to ease the overcapacity strain at Seoul's Gimpo Airport. Incheon was built on an artificial island and is around 30 miles west of Seoul itself. I stayed at an airport hotel last night and had a quick ride to get to Terminal 1, where Vietnam Airlines operates from. I was going to say that this always surprised me since Ryanair, their SkyTeam compatriot, operates out of Terminal 2. But ever since Ryanair bought Asiana, it's all one and the same now. The air market between South Korea and Vietnam is massive. On any given day, there will be around 50 flights just from Incheon to Vietnam. That doesn't take into account all of the other cities in Korea, which have non-stop services to Vietnam as well. There are around 10 carriers that connect Incheon to Vietnam, and Vietnam Airlines has 6 or 7 of those flights per day, maintaining a large check-in area here in the Terminal 1 hall. Vietnam Airlines started out as Vietnam Civil Aviation in North Vietnam in 1956. The next 20 years during the war didn't provide many opportunities for expansion, and the decades after that didn't too much as well, considering the US embargo on the country. By 1994, when the embargo was lifted, they were a small regional carrier serving a handful of international destinations using all Soviet-era aircraft. Our flight today would be leaving from the satellite, but the lounge offered with my ticket was in the head house, something that the check-in agent was pleasantly insistent on ensuring that I understood very well. The lounge is actually a Korean Air lounge, a small one, but I never noticed it here in T1 before. I'm curious if it's always been here hiding or if it's more of a recent development after Korean bought Asiana. The lounge is open air and had a wide variety of seating types to choose from. As is my habit in Japanese and Korean lounges, I love to sit at the tables looking directly outside. There was a small selection of food and drinks on offer. As soon as the embargo was lifted though, things changed rapidly. Almost immediately, the airline announced that they'd be retiring the Soviet fleet, and within a few months they had their hands on 8 A320s, which they leased from Air France. Given their slow start, Vietnam Airlines really began to take off in terms of growth in the 2010s, especially with the addition of their now 31 A350 and 787 wide-body aircraft in the fleet. These are regularly used to fly between Saigon and Hanoi, one of the world's busiest routes, as well as to the likes of Australia, Europe, San Francisco, and up here to Korea and Japan as well. Each time I see an Asiana livery aircraft now, I need to wonder if it'll be the last time. I have a feeling that Korean will prioritize repainting the Asiana aircraft into the new livery first, once that process begins. The satellite terminal is light and bright, but if you're looking for lots of shopping, you're best to do all of that in the head house. If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, there are many ways that you could do so. A quick like on the video and subscribe helps with the algorithm, or you could check out my Patreon linked in the description below. On Patreon, I post everything from early access or Patreon-only videos, to newsletters, my best tips and tricks to save money on travel, glimpses behind the scenes, detailed advanced itinerary maps, and much, much more. Think of it as a toolbox to save money on or simply improve your next trip, especially if it's in Southeast Asia. If you have specific questions about your upcoming trips, I can help with that too. Whatever you do though, thanks very much for doing it. Here's our beautiful 787-10 for today's flight, this one being just a year old. Easily my second favorite aircraft livery out there today. My first spot goes to SAS, specifically on their A350s. Boarding was on time to the second and began with business class passengers as well as priority passengers. After turning left, you'll pass through a small economy section before entering the business class cabin. For today, I had 6A. These are the exact same reverse herringbone seats that you recently saw in my Mia Mongolian 787 video. I think it's absolutely wild how camera shy these colors are on board. From the seat colors to the blankets to the pillows you'll see in a little bit, just know that for some reason, film does not capture the true, almost jarring nature of the color palette. Given it's a brand new plane, everything is in very good condition, though that's generally universal across Vietnam Airlines' fleet. The seat has a limited amount of open storage, with one nook above the console here holding the headphones and another water bottle holder down below. It was a bit weird how this flight felt like a culmination of flying Vietnam Airlines more times than I can count, since I am positive that I've flown with at least half of the crew on this flight at some point previously. The foot cubby is large and deep, as is normal with the seat on the 787s, making for fairly unrestricted movement considering this isn't the bulkhead. The safety video began after pre-departure drinks and cold towels were passed around, and we pushed back. beautiful U-turn departure, let's take a look at some of the comfort items on board. You might be, as I was, surprised to see that these short regional flights get the exact same long-haul treatment when it comes to amenities. The pillow is a really nice size and plush. The blanket, the color of which I honestly wish you could see, is one of my favorite. A duvet style, but relatively lightweight. Finally, for now, there's a nice pair of open-toe slippers. Okay, let's get into the full meal service. Here's the full food menu for the flight. Normally Vietnam Airlines doesn't pass out individual menus, so I wasn't able to get my hands on the drink list. So the food options are a little bit complicated. First, you're going to pick a style, which will dictate your appetizers or side dishes and dessert. Then within that style, you'll have two choices for the main. By the time they got to me, they were out of the Asian and Western style. My flight attendant led with this and very apologetically let me know that she proactively saved me one of the grilled beef tenderloin as a main, even though it would be served with the Korean set. To her absolute astonishment, I said thank you, but actually I want the Korean set anyway. So I had the Korean style with the bibimbap. Before any of that, a trio of canapé were passed around. I don't think I need to say this, but this is a very bougie addition for a short regional flight like this. They were all tasty in their own right. After all of that was cleared, the full set menu was brought out on a single tray. Up top we have white kimchi, soy braised quail eggs, and soybean paste soup with bean curd and green onions. Then for the main dish we have bibimbap, a dish which I can't not order on a plane because it just transports so well. It'll be as good as it is on the ground, well, nearly. Not too bad. After that, the crew came around with trays in hand of presented cut fruit, followed by cheese and crackers. Again, a touch not expected on a route like this, or frankly, at all from what most would consider a mid-level carrier. And then finally, after all of that, there was also Häagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. I mean, I really can't imagine a more comprehensive meal service on a flight of this length. And everything was delicious as well. 9.8 out of 10. Entertainment on board was a great selection on a bright screen that is very responsive. Plenty of options in multiple languages and a good moving map. This model of noise-canceling headphones is becoming the default for many airlines, and they get the job done pretty well. For the full flatbed, again as with on Miat, this specific model generally has a sizable gap right in the middle. But otherwise, it's a spacious surface to have a nap with a full-length blanket. I was really surprised to get an amenity kit on this flight, so let's check that out as we approach Saigon. I'm not really sure how this fits in with their overall branding, but it was a nice quality pouch from Samsonite filled with their standard mix of products. Bathrooms on board were kept very clean, and I appreciate the touch of green. So easy to do, yet so few airlines still do it. Okay, let's get into Saigon. On the way, I actually had my first ever view of the new Long Tan airport, which is currently under construction from the air. It's meant to be open later this year, but I have my doubts. We offloaded at the new domestic terminal, which means we'd be transported by bus to the international side. A new experience for me, turning right to transit rather than going through immigration. Transit here was comically easy. One security check and you're through. Though when a few Vietjet flights from India or Australia land, bring your patience. One more quick flight to Bangkok, which we'll breeze through. First, a stop at the Vietnam Airlines Lotus Lounge. There are 2 Lotus Lounges in the terminal. I prefer this one for its views and its open airiness. We had a last-minute gate change to a lovely bus gate. I should have known that a real gate to Bangkok was just too good to be true. Boarding began around 10 minutes behind schedule. On board, there are 4 rows in a 2x2 configuration on this version of the A321. There's the real color. VNA has 2 versions of business class recliners, this one being the older, but they're still comfortable. Cold towels and pre-departure drinks were passed around, and soon we were pushing back. seat has a tiny little cocktail table, and the tray table itself is huge for a recliner. It makes my iPad look like a mini. For the meal service, there was a choice between beef with rice or fish with noodle. I chose the beef, which was excellent. Really excellent, actually. That gravy was peppery and made the whole dish. On the side, we had some garlic bread and some fruit to finish things off. Bathrooms on board were clean, and that little bit of green will lead me into my rankings. Why? Consistency. Vietnam Airlines is wildly consistent. Consistent and best have no correlation in my head, so I'd say they're the most consistent airline that I fly. With the crew, you always know what you're going to get. They're poised and professional and sometimes go above and beyond, but even their worst day is pretty good. Food overall has not always been their strong suit, but I have seen them improve in the past couple of years, and at the very least, it's always tasty stuff on offer. Their aircraft are routinely in great condition with consistent offerings, and if you have any status with SkyTeam, they tend to treat you really well. This is probably the last time I'll be making a video about them for a while, so I'm happy to move them up to an 8, even if by just a hair. Enjoy the approach into Bangkok. So I hope you did enjoy this trip report to Bangkok today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss my twice weekly videos. Since I'm now back to full chronological order for posting, I'll see you next time from a hotel in Bangkok, but you'll have to check out the description to see exactly which one. As always, thanks for watching until the end.